Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. Multiple weather threats, including severe storms and possible wildfires. More aftershocks after that rare earthquake in the Northeast. And the CDC alert about bird flu after a farm worker was infected. First, that dangerous weather, a high-impact system now moving through the center of the country. More than a dozen states under weather alerts, snow in the mountains, and the critical fire risk that millions face. How this could impact those who want to see Monday's solar eclipse. Our weather team timing it out. Aftershocks rattled the Northeast. More than 24 reported after that magnitude 4.8 quake that was felt by 42 million people. Engineers scouring buildings looking for possible damage. Israeli troops recover the body of a hostage taken during the Hamas attack last October. Protesters turning up the pressure on the Netanyahu government to bring the remaining hostages home. Martha Raddatz with Chef José Andrés, his first interview since the Israeli military report on how 7 of his charity's aid workers were killed. The health alert issued across the U.S., the CDC telling health departments to be on alert for bird flu after a farm worker caught that flu from an animal. Production halted at a major egg supplier after bird flu was found in the chickens. We examine the risk to humans. Countdown to the eclipse expected to be the most visible and longest lasting in 100 years. The best locations to see it, and the economic boom with hotels all booked up in the path of totality. Some looking to change their reservations to beat the weather. Plus, the massive detergent recall. Millions of laundry pods taken off store shelves because of a packaging defect that could put young children at risk.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Whit Johnson. We're tracking a powerful cross-country storm threatening the nation's heartland. More than 30 million people in more than a dozen states are on alert, including dangerous wind across a large swath of the central U.S. Gusts up to 60 miles per hour and dry conditions leading to an extreme fire risk for parts of Colorado, Kansas, and Oklahoma. These images from Pueblo, Colorado. Northern New England still feeling the impact of the last cross-country storm. Crews working to restore power to tens of thousands. Trees coming down in Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. This one nearly hitting a police cruiser in Sanford, Maine, in this week's major storm. And tonight, with 2 days to go before the total solar eclipse, there are concerns about the weather in the path of totality. Meteorologist Danny Beckstrom from our station WABC here in New York is leading us off. And Danny, take us through the timing on all of this.
Wait, this is a large, potent, and powerful storm system bringing significant weather impacts, dangerous weather impacts to so many this weekend. Just look at the number of active weather alerts stretching across more than a dozen states. High wind warnings from Amarillo, Texas to Denver, with wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Now up that to 80 mile per hour wind in the mountains. Extreme wind and extremely dry air mean critical fire danger from Texas up through the Dakotas. This storm system is a slow mover, which keeps the threat in play all weekend long. While there could be a few severe storms in the plains tonight, the bigger concern unfolds on Monday, with large hail being the main threat for the crowds of people traveling home after the eclipse. Here's a look at that eclipse forecast. Those storms likely keeping clouds in play along the path of totality in Texas and much of the South, with better viewing conditions from Illinois to Indiana and New England. Whit?
Millions hoping for some clearing skies. All right, Danny Beckstrom, thank you. We appreciate it. Here in the Northeast, millions are on alert for aftershocks following that rare 4.8 magnitude earthquake. More than 24 so far, including several today. The quake, the strongest in the region in nearly 140 years. 42 million Americans could feel the shaking from Maryland up to Maine. And tonight, officials still assessing the impact. ABC's Morgan Norwood here in New York City.
Tonight, millions of Americans across the Northeast on alert for potential aftershocks after that rare 4.8 magnitude earthquake that rattled the region. At least 7 aftershocks today, including a 2.5 magnitude shake in Gladstone, New Jersey, less than 5 miles from yesterday's epicenter. There have been more than 24 aftershocks since the earthquake struck yesterday morning, the strongest quake in the tri-state area in nearly 140 years. This live stream from an earth cam showing the Manhattan skyline trembling as the quake rolled through. 42 million people from Baltimore, Boston, and beyond felt the ground shake.
I felt scared and I was so surprised. I couldn't believe that there was an earthquake in New York City.
Though rare, experts say earthquakes on the East Coast tend to be felt at greater distances than those on the West due to harder ground density and older bedrock, which formed hundreds of millions of years before those in the West. In this map, you can see a 5.8 magnitude earthquake that struck Mineral, Virginia in 2011. It was felt up to 600 miles from its epicenter. By comparison, a 6.0 magnitude earthquake that struck Napa, California in 2014 was felt only 250 miles from its epicenter, even as that earthquake released more energy. Tonight, most of the Northeast region avoiding major damage. Families in Newark, New Jersey allowed to return home after officials evacuated 25 residents from their apartment building after it shifted during the quake. Those residents told Today their homes are safe. And during an earthquake, experts say do not run outdoors. Stay inside and remember these three things: drop, cover, and hold on. Find a table and protect your head. If you're driving, stop safely, but stay away from any overpasses or trees. Finally, if you're outdoors, stay there, but move to an open area.
Important tips to remember. All right, Morgan, thank you. Overseas now in the Israel-Hamas war. Tonight, growing calls for a hostage deal and ceasefire. Thousands taking to the streets of Tel Aviv and across Israel. The protests coming after news that another body has been recovered of a hostage taken on October 7th, and the reaction from those who knew him. ABC's Britt Clennett in Tel Aviv tonight.
Tonight, the Israeli military saying a team of commandos has recovered the body of a hostage taken during the October 7th attack, nearly 6 months to the day after his abduction. 47-year-old farmer Elad Katzir. Israeli officials say he was killed by Islamic Jihad. At least 36 hostages taken captive, now confirmed dead. Nearly 100 still believed to be in captivity. Katzir's loved ones among the thousands of demonstrators in Tel Aviv tonight protesting the Israeli government. Ayala Metzger is a family friend of the Katzirs. Her father-in-law was also taken hostage from kibbutz near Oz on October 7th.
What was your reaction when you heard that Elad had been brought home, his body brought home?
I started to cry. I don't know what to do. I know Elad when he was young, teenage.
The discovery further ratcheting up pressure on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government to negotiate a hostage deal.
Protesters are lighting fires here just outside the military headquarters. They're screaming, "Deal now!"
Ceasefire negotiations set to resume in Egypt tomorrow after a tense Thursday call in which President Biden warned Netanyahu the U.S. could withdraw support for Israel if it doesn't do more to protect civilians in Gaza. The negotiations come as Israel faces international condemnation for that airstrike that killed 7 aid workers traveling in a clearly marked World Central Kitchen convoy who had coordinated their movements with the IDF. With famine in Gaza looming, humanitarian workers say it's critical they have the ability to deliver aid safely.
To scale up, to avert famine so that people don't have to die because they don't have food, we need security guarantees.
With late today, a top Iranian military official again warned that Iran would launch a retaliatory operation against Israel after a strike in Syria killed 7 Revolutionary Guard members, including a top commander. Iran's Joint Chief of Staff today promising to make Israel, quote, regret what it did.
Britt, thank you. And ABC's This Week co-anchor Martha Raddatz today speaking exclusively to World Central Kitchen's chef José Andrés, whose charity lost 7 aid workers in that Israeli attack. Andrés is calling for an independent investigation into Israel's actions.
They say that their drone video, and this has not been verified, this video, that they say shows Hamas operatives, and they thought one fired from an aid truck.
Every time something happens, we cannot just be bringing Hamas into the question. This is not anymore about the 7 men and women of World Central Kitchen that perished on this unfortunate event. This is happening way for too long. It's been 6 months of targeting anything that seems moves. This doesn't seem a war against terror. This doesn't seem anymore a war about defending Israel. This really, at this point, seems it's a war against humanity itself.
Strong words from Chef Andrés. You can see more of Martha's exclusive interview with José Andrés tomorrow morning on This Week. Tonight, the CDC with an urgent alert telling healthcare providers to be on the lookout for possible cases of bird flu. That's if they encounter sick patients who recently had contact with birds or livestock. One human case reported so far this year in the U.S., but officials say the risk to the public remains low. Here's ABC's M. Nguyen.
Tonight, the CDC warning healthcare workers and the general public about bird flu after a person in Texas tested positive this week in what is believed to be the first cattle-to-human transmission.
This avian flu has now shown up in cows for the first time and has now infected a farm worker. But overall, the risk to the public currently is low.
The virus, also known as H5N1, has been discovered in livestock across 6 states since March, and in birds across 8 states in the past 30 days, according to the Department of Agriculture. Cal-Maine Foods, the nation's largest supplier of eggs behind major brands like Eggland's Best, halting production and killing about 2 million chickens to prevent the illness from spreading.
There is no risk to those that are consuming dairy and meat products.
Officials stress only 2 cases have ever been discovered in humans in the U.S. The CDC says symptoms include eye redness, cough, sore throat and fever, even difficulty breathing, confusion or seizures.
What we've seen before has not spread from human to human, and it is possible that this virus could change at some point in the future, and that's why we want to stay ahead of it.
M. Nguyen joining us now from Washington. So, M, what should consumers keep in mind for their egg and poultry products?
Yeah, Whit. So for now, the CDC says that the people out there should be avoiding actually consuming any undercooked foods or raw milk products. Health officials also say for eggs, go ahead and continue to buy and go ahead and continue to eat these products because the risk of bird flu continues to stay excessively low and the cooking process actually kills the virus. Whit.
All right, Em, thank you. Excitement is building for Monday's total solar eclipse, the path of totality stretching from Texas to Maine, and places outside of totality, like New York City, will still experience a partial view. Some schools giving kids time off so they too can watch this rare cosmic event. Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
Tonight, with just 2 days to go until the eclipse, Americans are over the moon.
I have been looking forward to this for months. I am an eclipse chaser.
The total solar eclipse on Monday spanning the U.S. from Texas to as far north as Maine. More than 31 million Americans who live in the path of totality, when the moon completely covers the sun, will descend into darkness.
Honestly, being in totality is I don't know, it's indescribable.
Hotel bookings surging. Businesses in Niagara Falls say they're getting calls from people all over the country, desperately chasing one of the best views, the most visible and longest lasting eclipse in a century, experts say.
Wherever they were planning to go for totality, now the weather isn't looking that great and our weather is looking a little bit better.
Taria White's 6-year-old daughter Charlotte was born during the 2017 eclipse. Together, they are traveling to experience this one.
There's something very special and rare to be born, especially at the exact time that the eclipse has happened. It's going to be something that she'll remember for the rest of her life.
When eye doctors say there are fake glasses out there, they say you do not want to buy them online. You only want to buy them from authorized retailers. There is a list on the American Astronomical Society website. Whit.
All right, can't wait, Jacqueline. Thank you. And I'll be out there joining David as he leads our unprecedented live coverage of the total solar eclipse, joined by Robin Roberts, Lindsay Davis, and the entire team beginning at 2 Eastern right here on ABC. Next year tonight, dive teams searching for the remaining victims of the Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore, recovering a third body. 38-year-old Maynor Suazo Sandoval was part of a construction crew on the bridge when it collapsed. And tonight, Baltimore's major sports teams, the Ravens and the Orioles, announcing they are donating $5 million each to a fund providing support to those impacted by the disaster. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Saturday. A fight at a bar turns deadly. Multiple victims shot near Miami. And why millions of laundry detergent pods are being recalled. Stay with us. Next tonight, a deadly shootout in South Florida. A total of 9 people were shot. Police say this happened overnight outside a bar at a shopping mall in Doral. A security guard was shot and killed. 2 police officers responded and exchanged gunfire with one suspect who was also killed. One of the officers was hit, as were 6 bystanders, All of them are in stable condition. Still ahead, a major recall of laundry detergent pods. A defect could put young children at risk. To the index now, in a major recall tonight. Proctor Gamble recalling more than 8 million bags of popular laundry detergent pods. Bags of Tide Pods, Gain Flings, Ace Pods, and Ariel Flings. Officials say the outer packaging can split open, posing a risk of serious injury to children and vulnerable populations. Thanks so much for watching tonight. I'm Wade Johnson in New York. Hope to see you tomorrow morning on GMA. Have a great night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.